Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Bourbon Obsessed Bourbon and Distillery News Podcast, your commercial-free, and therefore money-free, bourbon podcast for Monday, July 28th. I am Ed from BourbonObsessed.com, also known on Instagram as Bourbon_Obsessed. I publish bi-weekly newsletters featuring the latest bourbon news and releases, and also do this podcast version for your listening pleasure. My usual co-host and bourbon aficionado, Ding Langdon, is away this week, so my wonderful and very knowledgeable wife, Karen, is again filling in. Karen, welcome to the show, and thanks for joining me.
It's nice to be back again, Ed.
I can tell you're very enthusiastic, but it's great to have you and have you share some of your bourbon knowledge.
Sure.
All right, so I'd ask you what you've done this week, except that we've been together. So, but any highlights you'd like to discuss?
Well, I thought we'd talk about the one on Friday later, but
If you want to, because the news story's coming up.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we can hold off. Keep our listeners in suspense.
Oh, we did tour the new Heaven Hill Springs distillery
We did.
on I don't know,
Thursday.
yes, which very cool.
Very cool. Very large.
Large, doing some interesting new things there. It was good. It was very nice, very enjoyable.
And it's supposed to be open for tours starting sometime in September if everything goes on schedule.
Right. Yep. That's it. So yeah, we
All
would
right.
definitely recommend it when it's ready.
Ready to dive right in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Sure.
So our first story is Molly Wellman, acclaimed mixologist, author, and former bar owner, has joined Hidden Barn Whiskey as Master Taster. Building on Master Taster Emeritus's Jackie Zykant's foundation, she brings decades of cocktail and spirits expertise to the role. As Hidden Barn expands into its 20th state, Wellman's historical knowledge, palate, and industry presence will play a key part in the brand's continued growth. In her new role, Wellman will be helping with the batching and single barrel selections of Hidden Barn whiskey as she builds on the tasting profile and batching style developed by Jackie. In addition, Wellman will be interacting with visitors at the Neely family distillery, the producer of Hidden Barn whiskeys, signing bottles, tasting with fans, and maybe even jumping behind the bar. She'll also be visiting with some markets with the Neely team as they expand, sharing her expertise and bourbon history storytelling. What do you think?
Well, that's pretty exciting. Well, we knew Jackie was leaving. She's stepping out to do her own business. So, but I had no idea who Molly Woolman was at all. But she's from Cincinnati, and we don't do much in Cincinnati.
No, Molly doesn't probably know who we are.
Well, exactly. But I mean, given her bar aficionado presence, but she has owned bars for a number of years in Cincinnati, and been help craft cocktail programs for places, which is what kind of she was doing after she sold there. She had a bar called Japs, Japps, which is actually named after the building or the business that was there, and I think it was over the Rhine area. And in 2019, she not only her, but her bar was given the best bar owner and bartender in the country by one of the organizations that deals in, that supports those kind of businesses, which is a pretty big deal if you think about all the bars that are on either coast. Oh, yeah. So that was pretty good. So she sounds like she's very creative. She was self-taught. She said had gone to San Francisco to study fashion and design and ended up liking creating cocktails more. So that was pretty cool. And she's got way more experience than she looks like. She looks very young. I was taken aback. I was like, wow, she's pretty young.
You mean as her age? Yes.
But she's
older than she looks.
Yeah, she looks great. Wish I looked that great for my age, but she was. I think she'll make a great addition. She's very energetic from her bio, from what I've seen that she's done, and she is really into the cocktail scene, but she's had a great palate in helping create a lot of different flavors. So I think she'll be a great addition.
Yeah, and she had owned a number of bars, I think.
Yeah, not that the last one, the Japs I was talking about. She sold that in It was during the pandemic, 2022. I read a story quickly that she had just had enough of the COVID, and all the stress of trying to operate during that period. So let it go, and then she kind of was just self-employed as a bartender around the area, helping to create programs for other businesses and bars. So she's definitely got the skill, and they can use somebody with her enthusiasm, and get up and go. So that's great. Good for them.
Well, and certainly I think her skill set is going to be very well suited to helping blend and create the new brands. Yeah, and she is very well known in the bar scene, certainly in that Cincinnati area. And
and that's only helpful to the Neelys for sure.
Yep. All right, so we'll move on to our next story. Meridian Biotech has announced a new partnership with Buffalo Trace Distillery to enhance global food system security by converting distillery byproducts into multifunctional alternative proteins. The company will invest $40 million to build a cutting-edge conversion facility in Franklin County, which is expected to create up to 35 high-tech, high-paying local jobs. This innovative plant will transform Buffalo Trace's distillage into proteins for use in aquaculture, pet foods, and organic fertilizer. And construction is anticipated to begin later this year.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't know what Meridian Biotech was, but it is a company. They've developed this platform of sustainable, this is on their website, of sustainable and transformative technologies that repurpose or upcycle low-value byproducts, stillage in Buffalo Trace's case, from multiple fermentation industries to produce value-added multifunctional feed ingredients for a variety of major and niche global markets. So they are really going to help those farmers out here. There's no way those guys could take all this stillage anymore, and they probably haven't been able to for some time. But this is a great alternative to just dumping it or getting rid of it when other sources can't use it. And what I thought was interesting, they're not saying where it was actually located yet, but they'll do that later this year when they break ground. But it has to be close enough because a pipe will run directly from the distillery to that building. So,
which is pretty crazy. And I think, that's going to change the whole workflow because Buffalo Trace dries out their stillage now, as many of the distilleries do, because you have to decrease the bulk and volume because there's just so much of it. So if you can directly pump it, that's going to get rid of a cost because you're going to no longer have to do the drying in-house. And this is just a movement across the whole distilling industry. We were just talking about it at Heaven Hill Springs as well, because they have plans to do, not this neighboring facility, but they have other plans to put their stillage to good use as well.
Well, they are still using dryers, but there is a an outside company who will take all of their byproduct and source it as they see fit. So Heaven Hill will be out of they're not a middleman trying to sell to A, B, and C. They're just going to basically very much similar like this. But when we were in Bardstown, I ran into a gentleman who had done some work at the Booker No plant in Boston, and he was telling me that their stillage gets pumped into these huge tanks, which is what he helped set up. He's in the construction side, and so their stillage goes into these huge tanks where they then add enzymes, other chemicals to produce methane, and then the methane goes back to the plant to power the cooks. So everybody's doing their part to try to be green, which is really cool. So this was a good story to hear. I'm glad they're doing that.
Yeah, they definitely are. And I assume when it's talking about other fermenting businesses, they're talking about the fuel alcohol.
Sure,
that's
which is even
producing
bigger probably.
Crazy numbers of stillage, which I'm sure they're trying to put to use as well, though.
Sure.
We usually only do things that have to do with the beverage alcohol industry, so we don't really hear that much, but I assume it translates over. So that's great. And
Well, and then I mean, part of the biotech is they want, because the population is growing, and there's already areas in the world that have trouble feeding themselves. They're hoping that this, by producing this, it'll be basically a protein source that it will be able to be distributed and help folks globally, not in our area, just like everywhere. So.
Well, and they're not alone in doing this.
Sure.
When we went to the Beam Industry Conference, there were many talks about, putting the stillage to use, keeping making everything go full cycle, and making use of all of these byproducts, because there are a lot of them, and they have a lot of nutritional value or other value.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to use them, and that's great. So that's going to be the future.
Thumbs up.
Yes. All right, next we have I.W. Harper 34-year-old Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey is the rarest release in the brand's 150-year history. Now, I know we're not doing bourbon releases today, but this one sort of seemed a little more like news. It was crafted from just 4 barrels laid down in 1989 at Stitzelweller Distillery and matured for 34 years. This ultra-limited expression was launched in collaboration with Coleman Domingo, 2-time Oscar-nominated actor, director, and philanthropist. Only 5 bottles will be sold out of just 11 in existence, which I find amazing out of 4 barrels, but I'd like to know the story behind that. But anyway, exclusively auctioned via Sotheby's in New York from July 24 through August 7, 2025, with proceeds donated to Native Son, a movement, community, and platform created to inspire, empower, and amplify the visibility of Black queer men. So, very interesting.
Yeah, well, it's a fundraiser, basically.
Right,
for
which is
the
why we're
Native
including
Son
it here. And
organization, which is
it's
great.
Unique.
A good cause to support. What's interesting, though, I mean, I went on the Sotheby's website. You have to, I mean, I kind of look at their auctions here and there. No, I've never bought anything that you know of. But
I would think I'd be the first to know.
The interesting thing is, though, so the bottles are the 5 bottles are listed. There's some other I.W. Harper products that are old. But currently, the bids, so it's 126.2 proof, which this does not say. I don't think it said what the proof was. So it's high proof. It is dark looking whiskey from the bottle.
Sure, 34 years old.
Picture on the auction site. Current bids on the 5 bottles range from $1,700 to $3,000. The Sotheby estimates that the bottles will go from anywhere between $3,000 and $5,000 a piece.
But what do we have? A week and a half left already. So I mean, it's got a long way to go.
No,
it's not going to go up more until
it'll go up
till the end.
At the end. But then I tried to call. I wanted to know if they would tell me who actually distilled it. I didn't ask where. I just said if they knew who distilled it, or if it was distilled. I think I specifically asked if it was distilled at Stitzelweller, which is kind of what the press release suggests. But the description on the website for the auction does not address that at all. It basically says the same thing here. I have not received a call back. I probably will. It was just late on Friday when I did it, so it's not like, they're ditching the question. And the gentleman may not know. And
well, maybe when you enter your credit card information, you look like a real buyer.
Yeah. They have my credit. You have to have an account to actually access the information.
What's our bid?
We're not bidding.
Still be pretty cool, and I don't expect to receive a sample. So
yeah. No, it is. It's an interesting. It's an interesting bottle. It's pretty cool looking, but it's you don't know. I don't know. For $3,000, I'd really like to know where it was distilled.
Well, I mean, it's certainly being implied it's distilled at Stitzelweller, and it certainly would fit that time frame. So
yeah, it would fit the time frame.
Quite possible. It would be nice to see it explicitly stated.
Yeah.
But anyway, so if any of you folks out there buy a bottle of it, we'll be interested to hear about it.
Yeah, Ed will be happy to do a review.
Yeah,
sure.
That too.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. I didn't realize. So same company. So Diageo, who owns I.W. Harper, has announced that Deborah Crew has stepped down as Chief Executive Officer and as a board director with immediate effect by mutual agreement. The board has initiated a comprehensive formal search process considering both internal and external candidates. Until a permanent appointment is made, Nick Giangiani, Chief Financial Officer, will serve as interim CEO. Deborah Crew became CEO in June 2023 after serving as a non-executive director, president of Diageo North America, and Group Chief Operating Officer. Guidance for fiscal 2025 and 2026 remains unchanged from the May 19, 2025 Q3 trading statement. Fiscal 2025 full-year results will be reported on August 5th, 2025 as planned. So it sounds like business as usual.
Yeah, it does. Do you know anything about Diageo? They're really not that old. So she was only the fourth CEO of the company. It was created in 1997 in London. It was a merger of Guinness PLC and Grand Metropolitan. Guinness, we know, the beverage, company. Mm-hmm. But this Grand Metropolitan was a different kind of business. They had hotels, casinos, they even breweries, which is probably why that connection happened. And then they also had consumer products. So they joined in 97, and as they were going, they decided to liquidate other companies to focus on the beverage and spirits industry that they had created. And because they had owned Pillsbury. They sold Pillsbury to General Mills in 2000, which, who knew? I mean, that's those names are standard here in the U.S. They had owned Burger King, and they sold that to U.S. Texas Pacific in 2002. So they were, quite the conglomeration. And now they just focus basically on the beverage industry worldwide, spirits and so on. So I didn't know anything about them other than we know the company, the bourbon distilleries that they own.
Because their major brands are
they
Johnny Walker, Guinness, and then a number of American brands, George Dickel and Balcones, and
they also own some
Bullet and Stitzel
Scotch distilleries also. So
yeah.
Well, but I didn't know anything about them. So now they're
the
without a
largest
leader.
spirits brand in the world.
Yeah. So. Yeah, but I still didn't know any. I mean, you just hear the name all the time, and I was like, who are these people? Seems like they would have been around forever, but not really as Diageo. But yes, the companies have.
Most of the spirits companies have, because you get things that disrupt the spirit industry, like, in our country, Prohibition.
Sure.
And that lets people like National Distillers come out of that, owning a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, a lot went on in the Scotch world as well and evolved into these. I didn't know about the other companies they merged with, but I knew it had come up through Guinness. Yeah.
So, but 4 CEOs over that period of time is really not that many. I mean,
No.
They've been pretty stable in that regard. So,
but I mean, I don't even know how you judge a CEO of a spirits company right now, considering, we're seeing people leaving, but the market in general, they're all facing the same headwinds and they're all having similar problems. So it's sort of hard to point the finger at, any one person who's in. It just sort of seems to be bad timing if you have taken over one of these companies during the post-COVID era, because it's going to be extremely difficult to look good.
It's going to be tough.
Yeah,
I agree. All right.
So
next,
moving on. Brothers Wright Distilling Company has acquired Dueling Barrels Brewery and Distillery, including Pierce's Place Restaurant, Tasting Room, and Welcome Center in Pikeville, Kentucky. The 30,000-plus square foot facility, formerly owned by Alltech's Lyons Brewing and Distilling, which you may know as Town Branch, and Lexington, what's the brewery called?
Alltech.
What's the brewery site called? That Lexington Brewing?
Yeah.
Will become the new primary production site for Brothers Wright, which is known for aging its bourbon in a 100-year-old underground coal mine. The new location will be expanded with a Vendome column still and enhanced visitor experiences. Pierce's Place will be relocated to the ground floor of the building, and the upstairs area will be converted into a rentable venue. The brand's Aflex site, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it, but it's a Kentucky town, so almost certainly not pronounced how it's spelled,
Yeah.
will also grow with a new coal mining museum, barrel filling and packaging lines, restaurant, and entertainment space. This acquisition not only reinforces and expands Pikeville's role in Kentucky's bourbon industry, but also serves as a catalyst for local tourism, job creation, and cultural preservation.
That's a lot.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of things. 'Cause I've always wanted to see the coal mine storage, which my understanding is they're working on making that visitor friendly because it's a coal mine.
Well, before we get to the Brothers Wright, so we had wanted to go visit that distillery.
Yeah, well, it was
Like
part of Alltech.
4 or 5 years ago, it was part of Alltech, but it was not open. Like it was never open. It was actually closed. So we never made it down there to see it.
But it was very difficult to tell when it was open and when it was closed.
Well, no, remember I called,
Yeah.
and they
Well,
were
I
not,
wrote them and they didn't answer.
They were
either.
not open for business at the time. So,
But then we ran into them at the Beer Cheese Festival last year in Winchester, and that's when they said they're open and alive and well in the restaurant and everything, because they were one of the participants in the Beer Cheese.
okay, I vaguely remember that.
Yeah.
Thank God you got a better memory than I do.
I know, it's the bourbon.
But the Brothers Wright, so they're not brothers.
And if you haven't been to the Beer Cheese Festival, as an aside, not
In
as,
Winchester,
as
yes.
a plug, but
It's good.
It's yes, and
It's enjoyable.
you won't want to eat beer cheese for the next 6 months, but you'll really enjoy it while you're trying all the different varieties. It was great. I would go
Yeah, we
again.
had a good time. Speaking of the Brothers Wright Distilling Co. though, I forgot. I remember you had mentioned that there was a distillery there was folks aging barrels in old mines.
Yeah.
So when I was trying to find out or read about the story, I was like, who is this Brothers Wright? And then I was like, oh, okay. So I did a little more research. They, in 2020, they bought land, like over 1,000 acres in Pike County. Since it's on the banks of the Tug River. It's very close to, I guess, to West Virginia. And they were restoring that as a corporate retreat type place. 1,000 acres is a lot of land. They came across some old mining maps. Now, I can only imagine how excited the gentleman got, because prior to that, I can't remember which brother it is, but he used to come up here and tailgate at UK games. We live close to campus. So, and he had met Lincoln Henderson, and they would hang out and tailgate and talk about bourbon. And at the time, Lincoln was starting to do Angel's Envy, like getting that process going. He had talked about wanting to age barrels back then in mines, right? So it came full circle. Like, they find these maps, and I'm sure bells were going off. Anyway, they
Well, the big bell being we don't have to build rick houses.
yeah, well, yeah.
Perhaps.
Except, how do you get a mine insured for that's been closed? So the mine that they're using on their property was an actual mine. They have like old pictures of trucks and stuff, and but hadn't been used, in years. You got to make sure that it's shored up so nothing falls on your head. And
That's my understanding. Before it could be put, well, certainly before
yeah.
you can have tours going through
Yeah.
it, and before you can store large scale in there, they have.
they have
barrels.
they have barrels in there now. And
Right,
it's,
but I don't think it's on a large scale at this point. My understanding is they need to get all of that shoring up and everything done.
yes. That's what it sounds like. They've got barrels.
Which would not be it'd probably be cheaper to build a.
Well, no,
a
it said they had more room for thousands of barrels.
Wow.
And I don't know
Mines are huge.
where they are in that process. But interestingly, though, I found a press release from October 2023. So before this really had the purchase of the dueling barrels, they were going to their plan was to build a distillery, right? They made a huge announcement, and the governor was there and all that fun stuff. But we know best laid plans. But anyway, this is a good, that sounds like this is a good fit
So it works out.
Oh, even
better.
better. It's already there.
Right.
So this will be something.
And it comes with a whole venue that people can visit in Pikeville, and it's good for Pikeville to keep that going. So it seems like a win-win.
So these guys have been in business and other businesses in that area for a long time, so they're well-versed in how business works. I think they'll be successful. It's kind of exciting. I'm looking forward to being able to go down there. We can...
Well, I want to go to both places because we've still never been to Dueling Barrels.
No, I would love to go to Dueling Barrels.
I'd like to see the coal mine.
Yeah, the coal mine would be cool as well. So, but that's, I don't know. Rick houses are one thing. Going to a really old mine is another thing. It's a little creepy, but it would be fun.
Well, especially one that may not be fully finished, passing its certifications.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting news. That's something different for sure. Yeah. Good luck to those guys.
Yep. Definitely a cool thing. All right. You ready to move on to our next story?
Yeah, let's do it.
This is one that we've talked about quite a bit on this show recently.
Mm-hmm.
Well, on the last news show, I think actually it was the last one.
Unfortunately, yes.
So Luca Mariano Distillery, based in Danville, Kentucky, has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, revealing debts exceeding $34.5 million to its top 14 creditors. And this was according to a news story from the Lexington Herald Leader, our local newspaper. The filing by parent company LMD Holdings came just before a judge was set to consider appointing a receiver to take control of the recently opened distillery. So if you remember, the ribbon cutting was like barely a little more than a month ago at this point. Despite the bankruptcy, owner Francesco Viola expressed optimism, claiming the company has a successful business model and expects to emerge stronger. However, creditors, including top creditor Summit Bridge, which is also known as Summit Investment, which acquired defaulted loans originally held by Truist Bank, which you may remember from the Garrett County story, and is owed more than $25 million, dispute Viola's narrative and have called for a receiver to oversee the property during foreclosure proceedings. So,
Eek.
Yeah,
well, that's a mess, unfortunately. What I found interesting about this story was Truist. So they've lent money to Luca Mariano. That didn't work out very well.
No.
They got off the hook with that, though, right? Summit is a company that buys bad debt. They're out of Denver, Colorado, I think we learned. Garrett County used Truist.
Yeah.
Still owe them money. And the whiskey house has debt to Truist. They're not the only one. They're one of a number of other financial institutions.
Consortium of
It's not just one. It was one of their capital. It was one of their people that.
I hadn't heard of Truist until we started talking about all these money issues, but apparently they're big.
I'm finding a common link, and I'm thinking maybe.
Well, it's a field that they apparently invest in.
I know, but you don't read about them with anybody else having trouble.
Well, that's because you don't read about the people that aren't having trouble.
I don't know.
Well, I don't know either.
It's very...
You'll have to open our books to us so we can see everybody they've loaned money to.
Yeah. No, but they had to go into receivership so they didn't get ripped apart by I guess you have to do that so somebody manages it. Otherwise, a judge will say, here.
Well, look, so they have been... Well, this is where Dean, being a bankruptcy attorney...
Why is Dean always gone when we have to... Dean, come on.
But I believe, this does give them the protection to try to deal with it themselves and continue operating during that time. Whereas if they were put into receivership, they would be controlled. Well, somebody else would have a big say in what was going on and start thinking about how they're going to be broke up and sold. So this does buy them time, and I don't know how this stuff works.
I don't know. It's just a big bummer. You do all that work, and it's just... and then you can't produce anything, or you get taken apart.
But they're completely different than Garrett County because they've been operating, not distilling, but they've been in business with a brand for years now. Yeah. And then for whatever reason, we know all the different headwinds that are, I've said that twice now because it's what's going on in the spirits world now, and it's not the same market it was during COVID, but they went on for a while. Then they built their own distillery, which has been being built for
A long
quite
time.
a few years.
Yeah. It didn't happen quickly at all.
But then have the ribbon cutting, and then it all seems to go downhill simultaneously, which
it's a saturated
seems
market.
unfortunate.
It's if you can't distill and you're not selling your own, then man, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, we do have these stories fairly frequently, and I'm sure we're going to have more of them, unfortunately. All right, so moving on. So this is just a brief mention because we're not going to go through all the winners in these competitions, but a couple of other spirits competitions, and there's quite a few of them, have announced their winners this week, or in the last 2 weeks. The New Orleans Spirits Competition and the SIP Awards have both announced them, and I'm planning to do some articles on these award competitions, and those will be coming. We'll talk more about them then, but suffice it to say, you could read about all the winners on their website for now. Mm-hmm. Did you have anything to add about this?
No. I did take a quick look at the only thing I have to say is I took a quick look at the New Orleans spirits competition, and for some of the categories, best in show, Heaven Hill scored a couple wins. So
they had quite a few. They actually put out a press release, and they were named. I don't remember the exact title. Something best. It's
one of their grains to glass
distillery overall.
Right. One of their grains to glasses did very well, and then the 7-year bottled in bond, I believe, did well. So congratulations to them. We're Heaven Hill fans. Yay.
Yeah, no, Heaven Hill did.
But I didn't really, it's not just bourbon. It's all different types of spirits. So.
Well, since we're talking about these competitions, so they're actually very interesting because they're both quite different. So the New Orleans Spirits Competition takes place during Tales
of the cocktail.
Yeah, that just took place in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And part of this judging actually takes place in front of the audience, and the audience gets to sort of sample along. They don't have a vote, but they can say their 2 cents while it's going on.
And it's a blind tasting.
It's blind tasting, and but it's judged by industry experts and people like that. Whereas the SIP Awards is a consumer judged competition where I need to read more about it. But I mean, it looks like they actually send like tasting kits to people that are participating, and they get to taste it. So it's it's actually judged by consumers. And it's judged in a different atmosphere than the usual competition, the best I can tell.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so, there's a lot of different takes that all these competitions have, which is good because otherwise they'd be all the same. But
well, you're going to get a different, my guess would be different if you're having consumers do the judging versus the industry professionals.
Well, and it's a huge different thing if you're judging it having all the time in the world to taste them at home than in a actual competition where you're tasting a lot in a short period of time and need to make your decision. Yeah, so it's a very different atmosphere for tasting as well. So anyway, more to come about that.
Sure.
All right, now our next story has a little to do with all the bottles in front of us. Bardstown Bourbon Company has unveiled a bold new brand campaign, Nowhere We Won't Go, capturing the ambition, innovation, and relentless pursuit of quality that defines the modern bourbon leader. Developed with Forsman and Bodenfors, the campaign features a 30-second film blending Bardstown footage with energetic visuals, animated typography, and a custom jazz meets electronic soundtrack. We've always believed great bourbon starts with curiosity, said Pete Marino, president of Lofted Spirits, the parent company of Bardstown Bourbon Company. This campaign brings to life how far we're willing to go from the lab to the barrel house to the furthest corners of the world. The campaign launched nationally across digital and social media on July 23, and you can go to our website to read the web version of this newsletter, and that has the links to allow people to watch the videos.
Yeah, the video's nice. It's not very long. It's definitely well done.
It has multiple versions. Did it say it in here? A 30-second,
yeah,
15,
there's different
and
cuts.
a 6-second.
Yeah, there's different cuts.
Yeah.
but we put up some of the collabs that we've collected, and I mean, they talk about going to the ends of the world. They've been doing this a long time.
Yeah, they literally do.
They have. This is not new. Now they're just showcasing it. But I wrote down a list of all the collabs that I could think of. Well, we have the Amaro Nonino up there,
which I'm sipping on, which is really
you really love that,
quite
right?
good. Yeah.
So they also have the Chateau de la Baude. They did a Copper and Kings, which is actually in Louisville. So that's not actually the end of the world, but that was like some of the first.
But those were
collabs.
the earliest ones.
Yeah.
They did the 3 Copper and Kings.
They
and
did the
Goodwood
Copper and Kings.
Brewing early on.
They did a Ferrand collab, which I guess we could say that they have another one coming out.
Well, they've done the Bod twice too.
Yeah, and then they did a Foursquare Rum collab, a Scout and Scholar collab, which is actually local there in Bardstown, the brewery in Bardstown. They did a Blackberry Farm collab with one of their barrels was the stout, their stout, because Blackberry Farm has their own brewery on site, correct? Plantation Rum, Silver Oak Winery in California, Pfeiffer Pavitt, and then also Goose Island. They did a collab with Goose Island.
2 of them.
Yeah, and
You left out Carter Cellars.
Carter Cellars, I did, and then the Curacao. They did a Curacao finish, and I'm sure I probably missed one, but they've been doing collabs and innovating, and searching the world worldwide.
Well, and the 2 latest wood finishes,
Yeah.
which aren't exactly collaborations, but they travel.
So the wood from the cathedral came from France, the forest in France. Then
The wood that was harvested to rebuild Notre Dame.
yes, then the
Leftovers. They didn't take from the
No,
cathedral.
no. Yeah, the leftover wood. And then the newest reserve is wood from Mizunara wood.
Right.
Yeah, from Japan.
Yes.
Yeah. So they like to innovate. They like to collaborate. And what we really like is they're very transparent when they do that. So
Right. Well, I mean, every bottle always
Yeah.
says everything that's in
It'll
it as
say
much that it
exactly,
can. It'll
yeah.
at least say the mash bill, but you can usually
Yeah.
Google the mash bills and figure out
Yeah.
where the whiskeys came from if it's not their own that's in there.
And one of the things that we did Friday that we said we'd talk about during this segment was we went to the reserve party where it was the inaugural pickup for Bardstown's Reserve Club, which is their bottle club, which we joined. So
It's brand new.
it's a brand new club. The first release happened on Friday. Included in that release was the Cathedral, and then very exciting. Everybody was very excited. Their first 8-year release, and it was from the first distillation, correct, that they did.
Right.
And it was it's a single barrel, correct?
Yeah, but we got to single barrel.
Yeah, it's a
well, there
single
must have been 2 or 3. Well, there had to be more than
There
one.
had to be more than one barrel, but it's that was really cool.
And it's 8.5 years old now. I mean, it's the oldest stuff that they have, the oldest
Yeah,
that they've distilled.
yeah. It was a great event. It was packed, but it was still fun. We got to taste some new products coming down the line, the Discovery 13 and the new Ferrand
next
collaboration.
Yeah.
It was a great event. It was so much fun. Unfortunately, the club is full now.
Yeah.
Correct? It wasn't full as of like last week. You could still sign up, but it's full. So I think you could go on and maybe get on a wait list or sign up for the email for when the club renews.
Because it'll renew I don't know what time. It's probably going to be on a January 1st time frame because they've made it so that because it didn't get started. Well, now it's the first release, and the sign-up started maybe 6 weeks ago. I don't know.
There'll be four
but
releases a year, correct? Or is it just
Well, there's 3 this year, but I
Right.
think that may just because of the timing of it. So
Right.
it ends in December, so it sets it up to
Right.
start anew.
But I think for the full year, it'll be
In
for
January.
It'll be like kind of
Yeah.
quarterly. So yeah, it was.
I'm not positive of that, but we'll It'll be on their website. That's not like
Yes.
it's hidden information.
Yeah. Yeah, if you go to their website, Bardstown Bourbon, there's a link on the drop-down menu. It says the reserve, so it'll give you all the information.
Yes.
So anyway, well done, guys. Very well done.
Yep. And that sounded like an advertisement, but
It wasn't.
We were actually paid members of the reserve, so
yes.
That was our own opinion.
That's just how much we appreciate them and really like what they're doing.
Yes, we are very big fans. All right, and our last story is Brown Forman Corporation stockholders elected the company's recommended slate of directors and ratified the appointment of Ernst & Young LLP for fiscal 2026. Marshall B. Farrer, a fifth-generation descendant of the company's founder, was reelected and named chairman following Campbell P. Brown's decision to step down from the role. The board also approved a regular quarterly cash dividend of 22.65 cents per share, payable October 1, 2025. And I found that pretty interesting because they've paid a regular quarterly cash dividend for 81 consecutive years, and they've increased the dividend for 41 consecutive years. So I think we may own some Brown Forman stock now, but we certainly hadn't over the last 81 years.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. Because, we know Brown Forman, and they've owned Jack Daniels for a long time, and Old Forester now, and I mean they own plenty of other, Woodford, but that's still relatively new. 96 or so. Woodford was a new brand, but the company has been around since 1870. It wasn't Brown Forman until 1890 when he got a new partner, but it became the Brown Forman Company, and then now it's actually the Brown Forman Corporation. But they've been making product for a long time. I didn't realize how. I know that
What's the slogan? Nothing better on the market.
I know. I mean, I know their story, their history, and that it happened in the late 1800s when they developed the first product.
First bottled bourbon.
But it was shocking that it's been thinking about it, it's been a long time. But the chairman is a fifth generation. I think he's the fifth generation family member to lead the company. So that's pretty cool that they still have family members that are.
They have an interesting structure because they're a publicly traded company, yet the family still plays a large role.
Well, I thought doesn't the family still own 51%?
They did.
They don't anymore.
As far as I know, they probably do, but
Okay.
I know I do not know the specifics of that.
Okay.
Although it's a publicly traded company, so
Well, no, I think
could get that
you could
information.
probably find it, but yeah. No, and this Marshall B. Farrer guy is he's been with the company for a long time. He's kind of done everything. He was in marketing, he was in sales when he started, got shipped over to Australia. He did some Latin American work. Came back. This is what was really interesting. He came back in where's it at? Oh, he came back in to the States to help Jack Daniels launch their honey brand globally, right? To get it globally, and then then he got sent back over to Europe. So he's been all over the place in almost, it seems like, every position. So it sounds like he's a good choice to.
Usually I can pull out a relevant bottle, but I do not actually have a bottle of Jack Daniel's honey.
Yeah, no. But anyway, so congratulations.
But to be fair, I don't have a bottle of Wild Turkey honey either. So.
No, you don't. That's the way it goes.
All right. Okay, so now we'll just have one little public service announcement for those of you that are heading to the Kentucky Bourbon Festival in just, 6 weeks, something like that. There's still tickets available for the premium events, so you can get there by logging into your Tixer account. That's who you would have bought the tickets from, or if you get go to your confirmation email that they sent you when you purchased your tickets, there's a link in there. And also there's now a updated link in the FAQ on the website, so you can also get to it from there. But you need to already be a ticket holder, and you're going to need to enter your ticket number to be able to buy the premium event tickets.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's getting close.
Yep. We're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Busy time.
It is.
All right. Anything else you want to say?
I think I've talked out.
That's not happened before.
Hey.
Well, that about does it for this episode. I hope you've enjoyed this edition of the Bourbon Obsessed Bourbon and Distillery News Podcast, your commercial-free, and therefore money-free, bourbon podcast. Please be sure to join us next Monday for our new Bourbon Releases podcast. We'll have some exciting ones to discuss. Also, be sure to like and follow us at your preferred podcast provider so that you don't miss an episode. And don't forget to tell all your friends, too. You can also head over to bourbonobsessed.com to check out some of our over 350 bourbon reviews and over 50 distillery write-ups. While you are there, you can also sign up to have my newsletters delivered directly to your inbox. Finally, I can also be found on Instagram at bourbon_obsessed and on Facebook at Bourbon Obsessed, and would love for you to follow me there as well. Karen, where can they find you?
Right here. I don't wish to be found.
No.
I'm sorry.
Well, there you have it. Okay, well, thanks for joining us, folks. Cheers.
Goodbye.